What's up, guys? This is Showtime's Fight Forum. Obviously, I'm your host, Showtime. Want you guys to, of course, subscribe, comment, like, share. Want to blow this whole thing up. And also, I got my Lake Show. Rest in peace, Kobe. Man, I'm excited for today. I'm excited for today's show. Why? Because we are talking about UFC 259 that's happening this weekend. Like, hold on. Whew. Let's go. Like, I'm hyped. I don't know. You ever see those cards? You ever like see that game, that fight, that match that just, is coming up and you just excited like you in it, like you about to get paid? Like, that's how I feel about this card right here. This card is fuego, fire. Like, I hope we get fires right now. It's fire just showing from the threads because we need everybody to see how hot this card is. We have 3 title fights, and I mean, one might be one-sided, but the other ones they should be fairly, competitive. And I'm just, woo! I just got to get that, that little yell out a little bit. Just, woo, let's go! Like, because I'm sorry. That's the last time I'm going to do that. But, yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into these fights, man, because I don't want to, wrap you guys up for too long about these fights. The first fight I think we should talk about is the fight that people are pretty much already giving up on. Everybody's saying Amanda Nunes is going to beat her. All right. And that's going to be Amanda Nunes fighting Megan Anderson. All right. My first episode was about Megan, about her being a beautiful woman and someone, obviously disrespecting her, who's also on this card. Hopefully Dominic Cruz beats the hell out of him. And I'm not saying that because I don't like Casey Keenum. I'm just the biggest Dominic Cruz fan in the world. And if he doesn't win, he needs to retire. But back to my original point. Megan Anderson fighting Amanda Nunes. I'm going to give a little bit of a different perspective on this fight. I do think Megan has a few things that could cause problems to Amanda Nunes, which is obviously her height. That's the biggest thing. Homegirl's 6 feet. Homegirl's tall. She's long. She's aggressive. I can say that this is going to be the most aggressive fighter outside of Cyborg that Amanda Nunes is going to fight in the stand-up department. Megan's not going to be scared. And Megan is going to be confident, especially in the stand-up department. So I do believe that matchup is going to be very interesting on the feet. I do think Amanda Nunes is going to beat the hell out of her, but I do think that it's going to be interesting the first, 30 seconds or so. But then again, there's just too many gaps in Amanda's game. I'm not Amanda games, I'm sorry. In Megan's game for me to believe that she really can win this fight. And the biggest gap is her wrestling. She's an awful wrestler. We're going to call her a spade. She's a tall, lanky fighter who's very aggressive, sometimes too aggressive. And, I mean, if Holly Holm can run a takedown clinic on you, I'm sure as hell sure that Amanda Nunes can do the same. So, unfortunately, style-wise, it could be interesting on the feet. But when it comes to the all-around game, Amanda Nunes is probably going to take her down and beat the hell out of her. And then probably going to either get the choke or it's going to be a TKO. But the funny thing is, even if it's standing up, Amanda Nunes still can knock her the hell out. Because, I mean, let's be realistic here. Amanda Nunes is the GOAT. I've been saying she's the GOAT for a little bit, but I'm definitely, after she knocked out Cyborg, it's pretty obvious. There's nothing else she really can do in this game. Oh, and another thing to note, this will be Amanda Nunes' first fight as a mother. So that is very interesting. Granted, she didn't have the baby, but yet and still, she had her girlfriend, they had a kid. She had to go through the 9 months process, and then now they have a kid of their own. And that changes people. Like some people are for the better, some people for the worse. Who knows? But we will see a new Amanda because she has now extra motivation, which is her kid. So that's going to be interesting to see as well. So that's another perspective that people aren't really talking about. But you say, oh, Josh, what's going to happen if, gun in your head right now, who do you say going to win? Amanda Nunes is going to beat the hell out of her. She's going to keep her belt, and then we're going to keep it, pushing. And also, Amanda Nunes is going to retire soon. That's another thing. So we ain't getting too many of these. Amanda Nunes is about to knock her out. But let's go to the other fights. We got Peter Yan, and then we have Aljo. That's our another title fight. All right? I'm so hyped for this fight. Did that rhyme? I hope it rhymed. If it didn't, forget I said it. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm really excited for this fight. It's for the 145-pound. I'm sorry. Don't pay me no mind. It's for the 135-pound. I don't know why I said 145. The 135-pound belt. And this is an interesting fight, man. People have, some odd reason, has this whole idea that Peter is, this unstoppable beast at 135, and he's gonna run through everybody. He's gonna be a champion for a decade plus, this, that, and a third. Granted, I'm not saying this is not possible. I'm just saying that I don't really see it yet. I mean, let's be realistic here. I mean, he beat the hell out of Uriah Faber. That's fine, cool. Big whoop. He's definitely a shell of his former self. Jimmy Rivera, that's a great win. Jimmy, and he just had a great fight, by the way. But people forgot how that fight went. That was a very competitive fight that he could have lost. Granted, he knocked down Jimmy twice, so that kind of swayed him the victory. But he very well could have lost that fight as well. It was very close. Wins are wins. So I'm not saying I'm trying to discredit his wins, but I'm just saying that there are chinks in his games, that have been exposed. Even the fight versus Aldo. I mean, the Aldo fight, he looked good at first, but Aldo started coming in strong. Started landing a lot of shots. But we all know Aldo's not a 5-round fighter anymore. So after the 3rd round, he's basically useless. So, I mean, but Aldo's a whole different matchup now. He's very tall. He's very lanky. His wrestling is amazing. His grappling is so solid now. Not now. He's always been a solid grappler. But I feel like he's been getting better with his submission games. So, I mean, it's a very tough matchup for Peter. And I'm honestly going to go against the grain and say that I think Aljo's going to win via submission. I think that he is going to take him down. I think he's going to wear him out, and I think he's going to get a rear naked choke. Now, when is that going to happen? I think that's going to probably happen maybe in round 3 or 4. But I'm honestly going for Aljo. It's not Black History Month no more, but I'm always rooting for the brother. There's no disrespect to the other people, but sue me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's just the way we rocking. But yeah, so like I said, I got Aljo winning, and and if he does, he does. But if Peter dominates, and I can't see Peter dominating, but if he does, because I do think the stand-up is more in his realm. Obviously, he's more of a stand-up fighter. I mean, we'll see. Then I might have to have a little bit more respect. But I'm not saying I don't have any, but I'm just saying I think that as of right now, people got to little calm yourself on the hype when it comes to Peter. Now, let's talk about the final fight. Now, the main event. We got Jean versus Israel Adesanya. All right, now this is Izzy's coming out party. Some people say, "Oh, it's already happened." No, this is really his coming out party. Why? Because he's jumping up a weight class. He's going to 205 against a guy who's honestly been finishing everybody. I believe Jean has 3 finishes out of his last 4 fights. He's been beating the hell out of everybody. And I mean, Izzy has been on a tear ever since that close fight with Kelvin. Well, I ain't gonna say he's been on a tear. I'm sorry, guys. I lied. He has not been on a tear, because then people are gonna say, well, what about Yoel? That wasn't a tear. He still beat Yoel, but he was on a tear versus Paulo. He beat the hell out of Paulo for some odd reason. He beat Paulo so bad, that now Paulo over here talking about he was drunk the day before. He said he was hurt the day before. Now he come up with so many excuses. That's how embarrassed he was, because he got his ass whooped and then got dry humped afterwards. And if we could replay that, please replay that, because that was disrespectful as hell, but it was funny. But yeah, so we got Izzy going up in weight to fight John, and I'm perplexed, man. I'm honestly a little confused about how I see it going, because John he's a very, very well-rounded fighter. He can knock you out. Obviously, got that Polish power. He can wrestle you, can bring you down, and he can just beat you on top, and he has great submissions. So I mean, and Izzy, we already know he's, if not the best striker, he's definitely number 2. But I personally think he's the best striker in the UFC. I think he's the best striker in MMA right now. And when it comes to his grappling, he's a great grappler. And him not cutting any weight, and if anything, him gaining weight, I feel like his grappling is going to get stronger and be stronger. We've seen a little bit of his jiu-jitsu, and his jiu-jitsu was fine. It's not like he's a liability on the ground. So, I mean, I'm very, very excited to see what happens with this fight. If Izzy washes John, I think we have a new pound-for-pound king. I think there's no debate. I think he's the number 1. People are going to say, what about John Jones? I've already stated before about John. John is, in my opinion, on the downside of his career, and Izzy is literally getting better. So, I mean, if they fight, we can find out who really the pound-for-pound king. But since Khabib is out, and I'm not putting him on pound-for-pound because he retired, I will put Izzy to number 1 if he wins this fight. How do I see it playing out? Once again, just like I said with Aljo, man. Hey, look, Izzy going to win. I got Izzy. I do think Izzy's the more technical striker. I do think that he's going to be able to fend off these takedowns that John is going to have. I think Izzy's going to frustrate him with his range, with his distance. I think he's going to pot shot him. He's going to jab him a lot, kick him. And then I'd see a head kick finish. And that's just how I see it as of right now. And I mean, you can tell me how you feel. Once again, you guys can comment, you can subscribe, you can like, tell me what you think, who you think is gonna win. And please, like, once again, you want to get, some bets going, slide up in my DMs, at Showtime Sanders. I'm always down for a little bet. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you for tuning in. This is Showtime's Fight Form, and obviously, I'm Showtime.